Next,
Okay, thank you, folks.
Wickapog 1 LLC, 145 Wickapog, amend a prior ARB approval for revisions.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
Good evening, how you doing?
Great.
My name is Joe Oliveri, and
Is there posting and mailing for amendments?
If it's on the, yeah, if it's on the agenda, yep.
Is there, oh, right there. How about that? Great, thank you. Well, we don't have jurisdiction if you don't, it's like a
Absolutely.
legal thing.
absolutely. So, this project is coming back to you. It's been approved previously. Another architect worked on a design and worked through the ARB with you guys, I think it was last year. And then I was retained, Chris Garten Architect, to finish the drawings for construction and for permitting. And when I was working through the design that was previously approved, there was a couple of problems that I found in the construction and the design that were going to lead to some problems in construction. So I'm coming back to you guys today to show you a set of drawings that reflect some of these changes that were required based on some things that were really, unfortunately, broken in the original design. And I kind of found out by building a three-dimensional model of it in a program. So we don't want to change anything about what you guys approved as far as materials, look, style, feel of the house. We just had to make a couple of changes to make it buildable.
Well, what specifically, this is
Do you
the
have
thing.
plans? Do you have,
Specifically, like bullet point by bullet point would be very helpful.
Okay.
sir.
Are there small sets of
There's
plans
small
to
sets of
look at?
Oh,
plans.
yes, yeah.
That'd be really great.
Oh,
'cause-
you guys don't have it? I don't know.
I don't think we had small
No, and this
sets.
thing is so
Because I
big.
filed these, I filed the...
We may have two.
Is it next to, is it in there anywhere? In the,
That's
what's the date? Is that what it is?
May 15th.
Yeah, and I
May
gave it...
15th, so it's
Is that
after
right?
May 15th.
Is that the date of those plans you're holding?
Yes.
How many do we
What's
have?
the date on this? What's the date of the version?
Yep, May 15th. Same exact set. I'm sorry, I thought that these were submitted to you guys. A few copies.
Maybe they
We do
were.
have two copies.
Okay, one for you two and one for
Okay.
us.
Good.
And I was told by the woman in the office who was helping me that this is the format you like, the picture of the elevation.
Oh, yeah.
Existing and proposed. So
Before
I
and
tried to
after,
make
you
it
mean? That's really helpful, because otherwise, it's just a sea of, you know, we are, and part of, at least for me, I've already thought about this and looked at it, and now we're back at,
I know. It's very,
and I'm not an architect, you know, so.
it's very
Okay.
unfortunate, and we're sorry that we're having to come back.
All right, so let's
and change
just
it.
go,
You're here to solve. Go
yeah,
on.
okay.
So in that front elevation, you see that is it better? Everybody else is doing it like this, pointing, right?
So we're on page,
A14.
A14.
Yep.
Right? You see that center in the middle is the existing. You see that center roofed raised dormer?
yep,
Um,
that's gone.
that it doesn't. Yeah, you can't build it that way because you have a big water problem. The roof.
Okay,
pitch,
you don't
right?
want that.
So on the bottom, I tried to make it look the same, but I tried to put all the windows in line, and then there's just for look and feel in the front. There's that little front shed dormer with windows in it, just to give it that same look. But the way I redesigned it, you can build it that way, and you won't have a water problem.
Okay.
The other issue with this was that
This is,
in order to make those windows come up, there was actually a bedroom there. And in the initial design, for some reason, there were stairs that were leading from the ground level up to the second floor, right? To get to the height of the rest of the windows there, the lower windows. And in order to get to that bedroom, you had to go up a flight of stairs and then down a flight of stairs to get back down to the other bedroom. And so if you're in the original bedroom on the right and you want to go downstairs, you have to go up 8 stairs and then go down 8 stairs and then go down another 8
All right,
steps.
we're not inside your house, so
Okay,
let's just
sorry.
hear the outside changes.
Okay,
this is a skylight.
so that was it in the front elevation.
So that higher, the shed dormer now, it looks like you have shingles through the window.
No, it's just a graphical error that
Okay, so that, what do those windows look like? Is it 2/2s?
2 over 2s, yes.
Okay. And
And down below, it looks different too,
you've
doesn't
changed
it?
the doors a little bit in the center, right? Or you've taken out the windows on the
Taken
Two
out
side?
windows that
Side
flank,
lights.
that
The
flank the door.
windows downstairs on the
taking out those two
approved,
side
but there are
lights.
more windows than the ones, there's something, the
Taking out
one
the
middle
two side
window.
light windows. So the
Side
two-
light
Now,
windows
this
are.
is the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
They
So it's-
suggest the
These are-
window.
You
It's-
reduced
those are
the number of windows in
Yeah.
the center underneath, on the first floor
Yes.
underneath the dormer, is that
Well,
correct?
there's French
Yes.
doors in the middle, right? Those
Oh,
are
is that
French
what that
doors?
is?
Yes.
And then the windows on the
Next to the
side.
front door?
Yeah, to come out into the porch.
Yeah,
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
Oh, we already had that discussion on this, didn't we? Okay.
And you've removed the chimneys. Or are they just not showing up?
No, they're just not showing us. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We don't want to change anything about what was approved except for the things that I'm stating. These.
Okay.
Okay, so are we on
Okay.
to the next page,
Yep.
So,
A15?
okay, but there should be a bubble then around those.
There should be. I
okay.
apologize. I
No,
apologize.
no worries, okay.
So in the next
Okay.
page, I gotta turn it around so I can see it. In the next page, we extended the center shed dormer over to connect to that gable roof. Again, I know we're not on the inside of the house, but I have to provide a plate height that you can walk under in that bedroom. And the other way, the ceiling would have been, cutting down below your 8-foot, plate height. So I just extended it over.
This is the right elevation on A15, right?
Yes.
Which is east, the east facade.
And is this
Okay.
metal, this roof here?
No.
Okay, good, sorry.
No metal roofs, no.
Just checking.
I just want to put a little accent over the garage, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, that's fine, okay.
Again, so I apologize for that too, but it didn't make much sense to me. And then the door below, I have a bubble there because I removed the window next to it.
And you've raised the ridge on that gable, correct? Over that door? Isn't the ridge height
Yeah, me too.
higher?
This is.
On
No, what I did was I didn't go any higher, I dropped the roof behind it.
The roof behind is dropped.
Oh,
step
I like
down.
that better.
Because
Okay, okay, thank you.
well, I'm not going to say anything more about it if you like that better.
And
Good.
the right-facing patio, or
Whatever
is that still there? It just hasn't been carried down on the graphic?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
I was trying to move fast.
And-
A couple days.
And is the brick foundation now becoming shingles down to grade? Or the same foundation?
Same foundation, yeah, everything that was previously approved except for the changes. I apologize for the
So
shortcomings.
the changes are a French door and windows?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, the French door,
that's on the back, just the last one. I'm just trying to make sure that like you're saying,
okay.
what we're talking about in changes is windows. Is there anything else that is that what we're talking about? Okay, good.
And,
Just everywhere.
okay,
Sorry.
because there's something else that's changed about the siding around the chimney, it looks like, between these two.
Which sheet are you on there?
A15.
Can you rotate that around, please?
Sorry.
Oh,
It has to face us.
Just so
Okay, so
that
he'll pick it up on the
Pick it
camera.
up, you can look on
So it
the,
looks like the windows have gotten shorter on either side of the chimney, right? Or something's changed about them.
Yes, because, yeah, I shortened them up a little bit on the
Okay.
bottom.
And you've raised up the paneled area by a foot or so, it looks like.
Yes, yeah, I thought it needed a little bit more breathing room.
Okay. And just to be clear, the front porch, which is on the left side of those elevations, it looks like it's become a sort of postmodernist.
No,
that's
same.
The same porch coming down.
I modeled it. I wanted to have a 3D of it, so,
Okay,
but it was
no
quite
worries.
time consuming to put that level of detail.
Okay,
Again, we're trying to keep everything the way it was, we just had to make some unfortunate changes.
okay. So it's changes as bubbled, with one exception that needs to be bubbled on the front so far. We're on A16 now? Is that,
right, so this whole section is a different shape. The rear elevation. The proposed,
he's brought the roof, the ridge line down on that gable on the east
Yeah.
side of the rear elevation, the left.
and he's raised, oh, I see, okay.
And then, right,
And the
Raised.
windows got, the windows got bigger?
This looks better.
the windows on the right, on the second
Got
floor, got bigger.
And on the bottom.
And,
somehow.
what's changed about the French doors at the,
You're right here?
over the balcony? Yeah.
If they are French doors.
That they are French doors, right?
Yeah,
There we-
okay.
Yeah.
There
Was
was
it
a
just-
window or something.
Oh.
I don't know what that was. All right. Next.
Dining area, they just wanted a door.
Are we at A17?
A17, yeah.
So
Just
now,
eliminated the, we added a door leading out from that same dining
you
area.
added some windows, 4 windows where there was a dormer.
Oh, so that was the same problem as on the other side. The plate height is too low to walk under there. If that there's a hallway. No, I know the interior doesn't matter again, but there was a problem in the plate height. So I needed to just carry that over.
So on that left elevation, you've made the dormers narrower, the first 2 dormers on the north side of that, the left side,
Yes.
and then you've made the 2 windows that were on the 3rd dormer toward the middle of the house into 4 windows on
Yes.
a more extended shed dormer.
Yep.
And then you've replaced the windows, first 2 floors on the main gable form there.
And made it
So-
more uniform? What have you actually done?
Taken out the transom portions.
Actually, I think that's better.
Okay.
Oy.
And again, all the turned posts on the porches should be turned posts on your
Yes,
version as
yes,
well? Just-
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No square ones anywhere, I
We'll need
promise.
to have that noted on plans. Okay.
We'll be sure to build to these plans, because you'll be watching.
Okay.
I'm not the watchdog.
Just barks like one.
No, I just think it's so time-consuming. It's not fair to anyone.
Yeah, I apologize. I
Okay.
came to the ball game late.
Does anyone have, are we good about this, or?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, good. Was there some question about a barn being,
Or do you want, is that on here?
no, I don't think so. All other,
Were you knocking down the barn?
that's not an issue.
There was some demolition in back, but that's not being changed, right?
Right.
Yeah, no changes to it.
All right. Are we okay with this?
I think it's
Is there
public.
anyone who wants to speak? Oh, yes.
I just
Oh,
actually,
You have to come up.
Yeah.
Sir, you're going to have to move over because no 2 people can be standing up here at the same time.
I'm Bridget Fitzgerald. I'm on the west side of 145 Wickapog. I know that they said they did a mailing. I actually did not get a mailing. This is the second time that this has happened with this project. I did call the village this morning, and it appears that the address that they have on file that they get for taxes is not my address, and it
You
hasn't.
get your tax bills?
I get my tax bills, and I can prove that my tax bills go directly to the address that I do actually have. So it's a problem with the village, actually, she said. So I never got it. I need time to review those plans. I don't know what side of the house we're looking at. I don't know what's been changed or not changed.
I think, Bridget, if I recall, the last time you were here, you were concerned about privacy and hedges and
Yeah.
trees and a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff like that. Nothing on the dimensions of the house have changed. It's really been the elements in terms of the fenestration, the doors. So the scale of the house, where the windows are placed in terms relative to your property and the eyesight, the very same concerns that you had originally. There should be no changes. None of the things that we've looked at tonight would impact that at all.
I would still like time to review it, though, with my attorney. I actually have had no time because I just found out about this yesterday.
Look at the plans.
I couldn't go to the building department. I didn't even know about this until last night.
It's
So,
posted, though,
and
isn't it?
I was in New York City today. So, but I'm not out here all the time.
Counsel?
I'm not out here all
What
the
is
time.
the address in the file?
Oh,
On
that's
the affidavits?
on the 200-foot radius or
Well, what
whatever.
address?
private
What is,
feet.
because they have to give the addresses of the mailing.
This is this one. And I'm sure your name again is?
Bridget Fitzgerald. It might be under my husband's name too, Michael Katz. We're at 135 Wickapog.
Yeah, 310.
Yeah,
I won't do the
I
rest
haven't
of it.
lived there even since I've owned this home, so I don't know.
What is the address?
It's at
310 East.
310 East 53rd Street.
You haven't lived at that address in how long?
First of all, I never did. My husband lived at that address maybe 12 years ago. And
Who holds the deed to your house, though? I mean, isn't that
me and my
what it is?
husband, we're both on the deed.
But these come right off the tax record, so
I
this is
can,
where your
pro-
tax
I
bills are
can
being.
honestly, I was literally in the car when I called the village today. If I had known, I would have brought all my tax things here that would show you that it gets mailed to 45 Park Avenue, apartment 20001. So it's not like, that's where I get my taxes. So why that goes
Does this
there,
ever
I have
come
no
up with-
idea.
Well, let's make
And
it.
I've never lived there.
Let's make a determination that the error is with the village, it's not with the applicants not mailing you
Right.
or your husband the
Regardless,
notice.
I just want
That's
time
not
to review
regardless,
it.
it's not, that's okay, I'm just addressing that
Yeah,
issue.
sure.
'Cause you've challenged that, and it's with
Twice.
the village, it's not with the good faith
I
of the
didn't challenge it
applicant.
twice. The first time, there actually was no affidavit of mailing. So nobody got it, and
Right.
that was not on your file. So this is a different situation.
Right.
All right, thank you.
What do we do?
Give her time to review the plans.
Okay,
We're gonna,
I'm s-
okay.
so there's somebody else in the public.
Oh,
Wait, we have another comment.
I don't believe that, that she's allowed to speak here. What is your name?
Well, we'll let-
Anyone is allowed to speak here.
Even if you're not a resident?
Yes,
Yes.
it's a public hearing. It's a-
We were
it's a-
told by,
No, it's a public hearing. Everybody here is of the populace, the public, okay?
They don't have standing
Now-
if they don't
now,
live
and-
here.
And standing, well, I don't want to get into legal issues. Standing is not an issue in an administrative body. It's a public hearing. It's open to the public. It's published in the press. You're welcome to speak, ma'am.
Your
I
name
can't
is?
submit something? And this is just a letter.
You can
Well,
submit
let
it.
her
When
speak.
she's finished,
Let her
please sit
speak,
down till
and then
she
you have a
speaks.
reply.
Right.
Your name is?
My name is Duran Phillips Telberg, and I used to live at 145 Whippapog Road. And I was involved in the preliminary design drawings from a year ago. And I did write a bullet list of changes that I would like to submit.
Changes based on these plans.
Yes, and first of all, the site plan shows remove the barn. The barn is historical. And-
I just asked,
not show remove the barn.
please,
Sir,
Site plan does,
now, wait a second. When this was approved originally,
yes.
I know there was a lot of discussion about maintaining the barn, at least I recall that. Now, that barn should not be touched. So,
I
well, there's not
also,
a demo, we're not,
Upstairs of the
please.
Sir, you're not
You're not- okay.
You're
recognized.
going to ask to leave.
So
Keep
I
interrupting.
just, so this is news to me. We'll ask the applicant later on. But you've only presented us with what's here. If that barn comes down, woe be to you.
okay.
I also just handed out a historical synopsis of the property, so that you have some retrospective or perspective on
I gave it to them.
what the original idea was
Oh, not
to
this.
redevelop the property as the farm it was, which had a barn, it had a two-story cottage, and it had a main house, it had a detached garage, and it had a pool house that used to be a chicken coop. And the original design was to redevelop the property and keep the character of the historical farmhouse. And so part of the, so the site plan that was submitted with the ARB shows removed barn. The front porch railing is a metal railing with wire instead of a wood railing with square spindles. There's no stone wall or wood fence around the basement walkout area so that it's level to the ground and anybody could really fall into it as a pit. It's not protected. It was removed from the drawings. The
When you say
original-
removed for the drawings, between the last approval and
Yeah, you
this?
can look at,
I remember that part.
I mean, if you look at the elevation of, I think, the west elevation, you can see the original approved drawings has the wall with the fence, and the new drawing does not. Also, we submitted a door detail and column detail and fascia detail, which was copied from the original house that is being integrated into the new addition
When did you submit that?
a year ago with the approved ARB drawings. And I did not see that submitted today, and some of the doors are different. They're not replicating the original doors of the original house.
I'm sorry, forgive me for asking. What was your role with the original application?
I was a designer. I was the owner and designer, and I was working with an investor and a contractor to redevelop the project.
Okay.
To redevelop the property as, to be historically relevant. And
This was
not,
your
yes,
Was.
and not, was,
Was.
and not knock down and build new. You know, New Hampton's house. That's not what this property called for. It had 100-year-old trees, which were supposed to be saved on the property line, which are now gone, and there's no tree law, so, you know. But it's sad that, you know, it's being dumbed down, basically, because of cost. So instead of renovating the barn, they want to remove the barn, which is what's said on the site plan. But in any respect, so the columns on the west elevation don't match. The original house had a brick foundation, which was previously
Excuse me, ma'am, I didn't mean to interrupt you. When you say the original house, do you mean
The original
the
18...
approval?
No, the original...
No, we're talking about, these people
Well,
have come
and the
in.
approval. And the
Let's
approval.
address what was previously approved.
Okay, what was previously approved was brick veneer on the foundation, because that's what the old farmhouses had, was a brick foundation, but because it's a new house with poured concrete, it was
We
brick
don't,
veneer.
the board doesn't care what happened before. They want to know the difference between what the approval was and now
Okay.
what these people are asking.
So the approval was for a brick veneer, and now the drawings are showing a plain poured concrete foundation. And I know that they just said it's just the windows are changing, but unless the drawings
Well,
are
just to be clear,
specific.
that's why I asked several questions about shingles and posts
Yes.
and all that sort of thing. We can't approve the plans that are here now because there are several things that are missing.
Right.
What I think I heard the current applicant say when I asked about the brick foundation in particular was that that was just a drafting issue and that it's not shingles down to grade, that it will be a brick foundation. That's, I think, what I heard.
Okay.
So I think
is
there
that
are-
going to be on the drawings for
Well-
approval, or?
I would vote not to approve these right now if I were asked to, because I
Yeah.
think there are just omissions to it. It
Okay.
sounded like some of these were drafting errors, is my point, that they were in the attempt to move things quickly along, but they would need to be clarified.
I
Okay.
thought that what was said was it was only changes in windows, and
Right.
there were some French doors, but...
But the
Right, but this is
posts
the
look
list.
different in the proposed elevations, the posts of the porches look different
Right,
as
but-
opposed to turn posts.
Suffice
But
it,
what we're not, okay.
from
Why not,
from
why
my
not let
standpoint...
this is going to be adjourned, rather
Yeah.
than go
Okay,
through
so
this.
that's why I like the
not
list.
submit
They
the
can
list, but
list-
why not have the
list.
applicant submit in writing everything that is
That's gonna be
being
changed.
Okay,
And
that's
leave it
fine.
at that.
Okay.
And then she can
Okay, good.
compare it, and
Okay.
the other lady can also.
Right, and for my part, I looked through my notes, but my notes only go back to, in this book, to about a year ago, so...
Well, the drawings are the drawings.
No, I know, but the discussion around it and what buildings were to be preserved and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go back
I'm sure it was
and
discussed
look at
about
the
the
video.
barn. I remember
Because I
that.
remember the barn being an
What,
important
do you know what the
issue.
date was?
No, I don't, so we'll
All
have
right,
to
let's
go
look it
back.
up. So what say you?
No metal roof,
Um,
that's the good news.
I have to submit this letter to you
Sure.
guys. I will not read it.
Put it to the,
That's fine, that's fine.
This is from one of the neighbors. This woman has been illegal.
You don't need to explain it, sir.
just
Just
put it in the file. We can't be in these personal vendettas. So,
I have no personal vendetta. I'm new.
I know, well, we just don't want to, the whole, as I said before, government is like to get in between this kind of controversies and agreed upon standards.
I just have to
What
say, though,
helps.
that the controversy here is, the controversy here is financial. is
I-
not.
That's
We're
not our
concerned about the
concern.
finance.
All
We're
right.
concerned about architecture.
You,
But
you
this-
have represented that the only thing you're asking to change is windows. Is that true or false?
False.
Okay, well, that's great.
I also explained that I needed to change the roof line in the front.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I did list all the changes.
Materials?
Materials are all identical. All the details, the cornices, all that will be the same. All I did with these drawings, and the reason why some of the detailing, let's say the columns and the brickwork is missing, because we're not changing any of that stuff. What I wanted to show in this drawing developed was what we were changing. I know that all those same details that were in the original proposition need to be upheld. I don't want to change any of them.
Okay, that's
So
great.
I think Mr. Robinson's advice was good advice. Given the conflict, given that you're new, so this is perfect for you, you can write down a complete list, go back to the original tape, see what was approved, all right, what the discussion was, what Mrs. Fitzgerald's issues were, what the neighbors were, and write down everything that you've changed, including the landscaping plan, because that was part of the original discussion, including the buildings. It may not be what you've been charged to do with your client, but it's what I think we need and what you should do to avoid
We're just proposing
issues
no
like
change to that stuff, the landscaping, all that stuff,
Then
whatever.
then so state that.
Okay, okay.
And the
Now,
barn?
On this, I'm a little confused, because this site plan, the recent site plan, shows the barn. Is the barn staying?
The barn is to remain. The barn is to remain.
That
I
was
don't
the
see a site
original
plan
agreement.
that shows it moving, so.
No,
Okay.
it's not moving.
So are you asking us to
Being
adjourn?
removed.
So if you would do that, sir, that would be very helpful for all of us?
Verbal description of the changes?
No, a
written.
written decision, a written descriptions, like with bullet
I meant
points.
written. I
So
saw
I know.
verbal.
Okay, so like, and maybe refer to the page number if you'd like. Okay, so are you asking to adjourn till our next meeting on the 24th of June?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve application of Wickapog 1 to adjourn until our next meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay,
Can I leave the drawings the way they are and just do the written?
no,
Well, if the drawings are the same,
but
and
I mean, I'm not
Robbie-
showing, let's say, the brick at the base, but I'm,
No,
No,
because because the proposed drawings show unturned posts. They show
You need every
modern
detail that you
rails.
want for
We need to
approval.
have plans that show what you plan. So if it's just carried over, it needs to be carried over.
Modern windows.
Excuse me? What's that?
More modern-looking windows in a couple of instances.
Right, well,
So
he's
we
going to
need-
change the windows, but really, the plans need to show what you're going to build. So the proposed plans need to show the right materials everywhere, it needs to show the turn posts, as long as those turn posts are staying.
okay.
like real building plans that you're going to build, okay? Okay, next, Seesaw 68 LLC, 68 Pheasant Lane, amend a prior ARB approval for revisions.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry,
Guys,
give me a moment.
You missed this, Ham?
yeah, hey,
That's a,
we were approved, well, let me back up a little bit. We're not making any changes. What was approved, with exception to making the garage smaller. Debbie, can you grab the garage model?
You're making something smaller?
Yeah, well, in one area and then
this
bigger in
is this
another.
big giant thing.
And for David of posting. For the revisions. We're not making any changes on the original proposed pool house or the original main house. Only on the westernmost addition. And instead of doing an addition on the north side of the western addition, the two-story addition, we want to get rid of that, not propose it, and put a one-story addition on the south side of the west side. So the original garage is a two-story garage. This was what was approved, which was a three-car garage, but it became very dominant when you were driving down the driveway. It was almost leaning into the driveway.
Are those small sets that are on your?
Yeah, I'll hand them out.
Okay.
So we came up with this guy, which is, it's really for a golf cart, and here's some mini sets.
Thank you.
It's for bicycles and a golf cart. What it does is it instead of this guy, kind of makes it blend into the, and this is a pretty substantial, excuse me, flag lot. So the garage is located, as you guys approved it back in December. That's the easy one. David, can you grab that, and we can box this up, unless you guys have any questions on the garage model.
Not for me.
And that's to scale, and the mini sets match the two file sets. So, if you look at, I have to move this box out of the way. If you look at this first floor north elevation plan, you see this guy right here that's connecting the existing
What, this
west
guy,
lane?
I'm sorry, what is this guy? Can you just use a,
This guy,
it's a connector? Is it a breezeway? What is it?
I got this guy right here. It's a connector.
Thank you.
So, thank you. So, that guy, Brian, thank you. Sorry for this one got kind of beat up. So this connector, is this connector in the right location?
There you go, right there.
Is this. So, from here over, there's nothing happening. It stays the same, okay? So the main house that you approved, the whole project stays the same, with the exception of the garage becoming slightly smaller. What happens here is this was what you approved. Ryan, you can start setting this up. Here's the same connector, if you can put the connector on. What was proposed was essentially from here over, and that's what was approved. What we'd like to do, which this, is to put a one-story addition. You can have this fouled
Yeah,
up.
it's on this
You
one.
could spin it around.
Yeah, it's on this one.
A one-story addition that's gotten kind of beat up. Sorry, guys.
What a nice model.
So, in other words, instead of this coming out about 14 feet, I'm going to leave the garage where it is, okay? Minimize it. Did you lose me here?
You lost me about 3 minutes ago. I have no idea what this property looks like. Sorry. I'm
Well,
just completely
If you look
confused.
on your first page,
Yeah, but you don't show side by side what was approved and what you're proposing, which makes it really difficult, honestly.
well, actually, if you flip to the first page, Rob,
Yep.
take a look at the existing garage.
So the first page is a site
Yeah,
plan.
look on the site plan.
Okay, yep,
Now, the first plan, you see the existing garage, 2 spaces?
yep.
You see the proposed highlighted, which was on the model as well, and it's on the filed set? Agreed? Okay. Then the next one is the reduction of the addition and a one-story addition to the south side, which shows there. There are no changes on the rest of everything that was approved. You guys, we haven't made any changes on anything other than the west wing. What we're doing essentially is we're saving the main house on this.
Right,
As
understand.
well as the connector, as well as the west wing, and we're actually reducing it further than what you approved.
Understand.
Back
What's
in.
making it hard for me to visualize is there's not a side-by-side comparison of the affected elevations. That's what's making it
That's it.
really difficult to see.
Okay,
It's,
this is it, Rob, right here. There's no change. It's shrunk back by 12 feet. It's the same elevation, no change.
Okay, and how does it relate to the models? That's what was confusing me.
Okay, so
where-
what you're looking at here,
Do you guys, am I being thick on this, or do you
Rob,
understand exactly what's
you're
going on?
addressing the applicant,
Yep,
there's the side, there's the elevation.
okay.
2, and you have a 6-leg casement, 6-leg casement.
Yep.
Got it? I actually thought this would be more helpful to you guys.
It is helpful, it just
And
was,
then this
I
connector,
was completely disoriented.
that's okay. This connector was to, again, show you guys so you can get a feel, because it is somewhat difficult. You get a
Yep.
feel that we're not discussing any of the main house.
Understand, okay.
Okay? Sorry, I should have started in a different way.
That's all right, now I'm
So-
more on board.
Okay, so now, instead of having this 2-story addition on this side, you guys, we're now kind of much, can you give me a hand here? Thanks. So I have a problem with my left hand, so I'm going to let Brian stand in. Thanks. So now what we're doing put it in line with that, please. Same, excuse me,
Here we go.
there you go. With a single-story addition on this side.
So it's smaller.
Pulling
Oh,
back
it's
the ridge line.
Considerably,
Yeah.
Okay.
see?
This is great.
So it's actually getting rid of, I mean, I could take a razor blade knife and cut it off, but it's a complicated house to look at, you know?
Thank you for the,
This side, it's okay. It's complicated to look at. This is Murray Lane over here. It's 180 feet. On the main house, you have substantial railings. Remember, we talked about them, I think, in December, and you guys unanimously voted in favor of the project. When we put forth the garage and staked it out, we said, it's just coming in too much. Hasn't been built yet, by the way.
That's good.
Okay?
Hey,
it's a plus tonight.
congratulations.
Yeah, always a plus. So what I wanted to do is to take the two-story addition and give Marissa Rose's mom a bigger room on the first floor. No reason to put her up on the second floor, so that's why one of the reasons we're doing an addition. What we discovered, if I can get your help there. What we discovered is, if you can remove that, please. Thank you. Is that what we would love to do, which would, you can join those up, please? Thank you. What I'd love to do is give her a sunroom on the outside. So I'm not asking for that tonight, because what we filed for is that. Okay? What the plans are stamped and so forth, the surveys are online, with essentially what is not a two-story addition out to here, but a single-story addition here. We would like to get, or I'd like to poll the board on their feelings of this additional 10-foot sunroom, which is really a conservatory where someone can sit outside and read. You have on this property, which is pretty cool, we have a substantial, this is where the addition would go, you guys, right over here. So you'd have a viewpoint from here of the pond, which is to the south side of the property. And then the property is about around 2 acres. But what adds to that is you've got Murray Place, which is another 60 feet. So it's quite a view across the length of the property. As far as the railings, or if you will, second floor, from this to the house next door is 192 feet. From here to the other side, to the closest house, is close to about, I think, 285 feet. And we don't see it being used except as a guest wing on occasion. So what we're seeking for approval on is the reduced garage and the new format, same hip roof, and the exclusion of a two-story addition to the north of the west wing, and the inclusion of a one-story, one-bedroom addition on the first floor, with a polling of the board of possibly adding on a little sunroom in that wing.
Sounds good to me. Looks good, I think.
Thank you. Rob, I didn't mean to confuse you.
Well, I
The
think
idea was,
I would
it's a tough thing to explain.
It
It's
is-
a long house,
You know from having done this longer than me, certainly, that these can be tricky. It is just always helpful with an amendment to have side-by-side elevations of what was already approved and what's being proposed with bubbled changes. It's how I
Oh, I
visualize
agree.
things, and it's good for the record.
I agree. The reason I did this little red-orange, actually, and the reason we did this little connector was to clearly delineate that this was the addition, this was the existing wing of the house. So no other changes at all are planned. And at this stage, as I said, nothing is changing on the pool house or any other elevation.
And just With respect to the garage forms, are they still available? I'm not sure. So you're adding on to the existing garage.
Well, you approved a change from a two-car garage to a three-car garage.
Right.
We're actually asking for it to be reduced to a smaller three-car garage. So this was what was approved.
Right.
And in the same format,
Got it. Okay.
this is what we want to do. We want to step this back about 2 feet on the west side and about 2 feet on the east side so the plantings can anchor in. This is for a golf cart for access to the beach and for the bicycles.
And
So-
there's, got it, okay. Thank you.
Sure. This is the rear.
Yep, okay.
It's just a little more subtle. So, and I think by taking a two-story addition off of that west wing, instead of adding what has been approved, the addition that we're putting on is also 171 feet smaller than the approved northerly additions. The first floor. And that, by the way, if we added the 10 feet, we would still be smaller by about 40 feet. So, again, we're asking for approval on the application, and then for the consensus for an additional 10 feet of really a glass room. It's pretty much seasonal.
I don't have a problem.
Fine with all of them.
Yep. Looks good.
I think it looks actually nicer, because this is such a big,
We're cleaning it up.
Yep.
A lot
Yeah.
of weird dormers, and
one step at a time. It's
Yeah,
a big
it's a-
place. Okay,
it'll end up being pretty
so
nice.
are you, you'll have to come back with another.
No, we're asking for the application as it stands,
Right.
and then
the
just your
last thing.
unofficial
To me,
polling.
that's not objectionable. I kind of like it
No,
because
I
it's
don't
kind of
think that's
lyrical.
objectionable at all.
Instead of, and in fact, the change in the garage is also less, all these forms placed
Yeah.
around on this giant thing.
It's just the plantings will be, you're not feeling like something looming on you a little bit.
Well, okay. Whatever.
So,
Okay.
so in other words, just to clarify, if we were going to add that 10 feet, we would trouble you for another application.
That's what I'm saying, another
Yeah,
one.
and I'm
Okay.
sorry we can't, but.
That's all right.
I
That's just, I
didn't
mean, at
wanna-
least
I
you
didn't want to
didn't
come in
do it
with
yet.
too many applications. Right.
Okay.
So actually, is there,
Is there any commentary from the public? No.
so I'll make a motion that we approve the requested change at Seesaw 68 LLC, 68 Pheasant Lane, which consists of an amended garage design and an amended west wing design.
Second,
Aye.
aye.
Thank you. And for the record, can I get an opinion on?
We're
as
trying
it's-
not to do that, but you sort of heard what we said. Just put in a new application.
Okay.
We can't make promises, it's not a good
But you do
thing.
like the vernacular?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No one said anything against it, did they?
Unofficial.
Okay,
There were no concerns
but
expressed.
we just can't be, okay,
Okay,
next.
any other questions?
No,
No, that's
so you
it.
got an
Thank you so much.
approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next,
Vote.
Rose
Appreciate it.
Stewart and Tyler
Thank you.
Dixon, 54 Meeting House Lane. Amend the prior ARB approval for revisions. Here, is that,
This is a non-stamped, this one's stamped.
Good evening, board members. I have
what time is it? 9:15.
I'm just going to see about affidavits.
It's still got
Take your time.
the one day.
Okay, so Jeffrey Gibbons,
And we'll keep
representing the owner.
We have
This
a,
one's stamped. Do you want that one? I'll give it back
There's
to
only-
him.
one is previous, one's proposed.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, proceed.
Okay. This house, okay, I have to cop to it,
Yeah,
and I get my hands smacked, and I will never do it again. But the owner changed their mind And you can see that there's a wing out the back.
Which one is it?
This is what
That's
was
previous
approved.
approved, on the left.
Okay, so it was, and it had, this was the back. Now, this is what the owner wanted, because this is the dining room and it relates to the kitchen, which is next to the driveway. We tried to move the driveway, but we weren't allowed. So the front of the house, like from here forward, has not changed,
Why weren't you allowed to move the driveway?
because the trees on the street were too nice.
Who made that determination?
Gary Gillespie.
Okay, that's
Okay.
just, that's a village
They're-
thing.
they're
You're allowed
they're
to.
I
beautiful
just wanted to
trees.
know. Okay.
Okay, so,
And that was after the approval, or no? That was, when did you find that out? That,
when it
okay,
was.
all right. It's not a,
It's just rear, south, elevation.
Okay, so what we did was, we took the back of the house and we flipped it. It's the same house,
You're saying essentially where you're placing the wing.
the wing, right,
Right.
but it also, the rooms inside. I know you don't care about inside, but,
okay.
okay. So, once that got changed, and my client has 4 little children, she decided that she wanted a porch in the back. And what we proposed is the evil standing seam roof. And the reason I proposed that is because I can't get any other material to go on that shallow of a roof.
Well, that might tell you something.
I don't think it looks terrible.
All right, what other changes?
Okay, we removed a basement window from the back of the house. On the side of the house, and you have,
You've moved a chimney, right?
They're
I'm
two
sorry?
huge
You've moved a
you
chimney,
moved the
right?
chimney, yes.
Did the
When were these changes made? When was the decision made by the owner that she wanted these changes
I
made?
guess sometime over the winter,
Okay. Were you involved in the project?
yes.
So wait, are we looking at something that's already been built?
Oh, yeah, it's all been built.
No, but it's
The
been-
chimneys are being, the mortar's going up. These changes were discovered on a visit by Chris Talbot on April 30th. And I'm told by Chris Talbot that someone on site was advised to discontinue work, but a stop work order was not placed. But there was a notice given, at least verbally, that any work from that time on was at the risk of whoever's doing the work, that it might need to come down.
Now,
So
we did
that's
say-
my understanding of the status.
Now, this,
Oh, I'm
this
sorry.
concern originally.
Just so you can simply see.
That's from the back, that's from the southeast
that's-
corner.
That's looking at
Could you
it.
turn the other
I'm
way?
sorry.
Yeah. Right. But the
guess
front of the house,
Put it down.
this
Front of the house is not changing,
changed, right.
and this is not visible from the street.
Well, the chimneys are.
Yeah.
Were there two
Second
chimneys originally?
Yes, one on each side.
Each side.
One on each side of the house?
Yes.
Now there's two on one side?
Correct.
And did they look like this?
No.
Were these chimneys?
I may be confusing this with
No, they
with
next
another
to the
house you were
ambulance.
working
Seems so
Jeff.
ornate
Is this
and
on the
massive.
south side?
Where are
of
the
street,
original,
next
he's got to
next
do a
to
better
the ambulance, right.
presentation, don't you?
And originally you would come in
Where's the
here, I think they
proposed-
wanted to demolish it.
Jeff has.
Yes.
And, but instead they,
Did the chimneys look like
They're being
that?
demolished.
was that?
It ended up
Not
getting
being
demolished.
Here, this is, why is there only one set of, oh, he has it, I see.
Right, yeah, it's problematic. So a house we didn't want to be destroyed in the first place.
Then
Ends
it's
up
really,
getting, we accommodated the
Yeah, but now
owner
there's two of them.
on allowing them to demolish what otherwise was, I thought was a
They did
cute,
look
cute
like that.
period
Now
house.
they're both next to each other.
And then we have a plan that's somewhat begrudgingly approved, and now it's changed. And I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse, but
Previously approved.
Well, both chimneys, I mean, you can't see the chimneys because there's,
I saw the chimneys, don't tell me what I can't see, they're tall and big and massive.
And if it's
Well,
winter,
once the landscape goes in, you're not
that
going to
is
see it.
not an excuse to hide things. Let's just not go over these.
All right,
Let's
sorry.
face it.
I'm sorry.
You have two chimneys on the, two massive chimneys where there was one, which I didn't approve your house in the first place. But this is, the two chimneys are really offensive, I think, in terms of how tall they are.
They are no taller than they have to be to work.
Well, your house is super tall, too. That just flips me out, but that's all right. Someone approved it.
Forgive my naivete and not knowing how things work. We understand the village is constrained by the fact that it's thinly staffed. How do projects get managed? I mean, you're the architect. Once you do the architect work, you're free of it?
Well, it depends on the project.
Are you the project manager as well?
I'm not the project manager of this. I'm just an architect
Right.
observing construction.
Well, if you're observing...
Well, he said his client
Legally, I
changed their
cannot say
mind.
I'm supervising this job.
Right, but if you saw stuff going on, Jeff, and I know, because we went through this house a lot of times, so I'm not beating you up on this, but I'm just trying to understand it. I don't know how this crap happens. I don't know how to put it more simply. And so if you're overseeing, not overseeing, but if you're occasionally checking on it, doesn't somebody say, wait a second, these are my plans. It doesn't happen this way.
Well, but he
So-
redrew the plans for them to build.
They wanted to change, and
The
he made
plans
the
were
change. He's
redrawn so that the
perfectly
contractor
knowing
could
of it.
build the new design. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone, the builder and you respectfully, should have said at that point, we can't do this until we come back to the ARB. And now we've got a lot of stuff that's been built, and I, for one, don't like the two chimneys on one side. I didn't approve the previous one. I was on the ARB. I'm not going to approve two chimneys on this side of the house. I'm just not. Letting you know. You may get 3 votes, but you don't have my vote, because I don't like the architecture. I don't like the two chimneys on that side of the house. And if I were running that project, I'd have shut down the mason on April 30th, when the person on site was told, you're not building the
Well,
plans
that
that
was
were
the one
approved.
thing that Chris apparently told them they could continue on.
Yeah, but did he know they were they were
I don't
moved
know.
and there
Yes,
were
he
two?
did know that they got changed. He did know. He picked up every single change, including one on the side of the house where we took a window out of the master bathroom, which looked right into the neighbor's window. It's gone.
So Jeff,
This part of the house next
We're
door,
just flummoxed. I'm telling you, it's so
I don't know what
changed.
we can do. I don't want the house destroyed in the first place. Jeff
Neither did I.
came back to his credit with changes that we finally agreed to, and now you're here with something else. And I
the house is no
I-
bigger than it was.
I know, but the
Well,
other
the porch adds to the
The back.
massing.
It adds to the
It's big on that lot.
coverage.
I mean, that was,
And then to Rob's point, two chimneys. In fact, I'm not even sure if the original village house in that period had chimneys at all.
It had a chimney in the center.
It had a center chimney. So now we have 2 side chimneys as you're driving
It's just
east on Meeting Street. And I'm going to look at it again because I was somewhat oblivious to it and just thought the changes were minor and to the rear. But I'm going to look at it again, and
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at it again.
all right, we're not ready to,
I don't know
I'm
what to do with this
tongue-tied.
stuff.
So we're going to have to adjourn this because we need to look at it again, and I guess I don't know, the building inspector is doing training somewhere and isn't in the office, wasn't last week or this week, so any ability to speak with him, maybe he'll be in on Friday.
I spoke with him at length about this, actually, and we should all note that he was the one who noted these and put a note in the file and requested that it be put back on our agenda. So he's aware of these issues. I mean, you know, this is an example. I'm glad you're all flummoxed. I'm flummoxed as well.
I really am. I'm
And
sort
I
of
would,
speechless.
if I were king of Southampton Village, I would say that
Please be king.
it's not only a stop work order, but there's nothing to be done on this property for 12 months at least. This is just not right. It's not right. Your clients
never have
need to be
approved those
managed,
two
and the
chimneys.
clients need to understand the code. And they've done something that's really offensive, and I get that there's landscaping there, but the next owner could take down that cedar hedge that's there and put up a 3-foot privet, and we'd see everything. We'd see the new porch on the back, we'd see the two chimneys on the side, we'd see that the symmetry of the chimneys, one on each side, I know one was front, one was back, but that's gone. And it's a different house from what was approved in significant ways, and a lot of work has gone into it, and it sounds like this has been contemplated or known among a certain group, just not us or the public, for 6 to 9 months. And it's really offensive to me. I'm going to stop there. Because,
All right,
this is
so-
a meeting full of amendments, some of which really put us in a tough position, and this one puts us in a very tough position.
So,
And if I were running the project, I'll just say it again, I'd shut it down.
all right, so here's where I'm coming from. Are you asking us to adjourn? Because if you're not, we're saying no, I guess, is what's
Well,
going to happen.
What would you suggest we adjourn?
You should
to?
adjourn.
Well,
So the next
next
meeting,
I understand
Oh.
that. I just mean,
we're
Can you
not
give me a-
giving you a solution. We don't know the solution to
No, I
this. I
mean-
think you could tell from what we said.
so
This
rip
is-
down the chimney and rip off the porch?
possibly.
Maybe. I don't know. We have to think about it and
Jeff, I
discuss
mean,
it with the building
The
department.
chimneys are not just plain brick chimneys. They've got design
That-
in them, they've got basket weave, they've got,
You know what?
And they were
Yes,
a foot
and they're
tall
not
when it
approved.
was first seen on April 30th, and now they're 9 feet tall. And so the notice,
Fair
most of
warning, I
this,
feel
most of
like.
this chimney
I
has been
didn't
built.
tell them, I said
It's
to
not up
them,
to, well, we didn't either.
We didn't either, so
our
you can't
job
get mad
is
at us.
to try to make sense of this and try to do something.
Yeah.
But many of us feel that actually that the proposed amendments are not acceptable, even if they're
getting
built.
plentiful.
Yes.
Whether,
So
Sets a
maybe we can
precedent.
well, whether Jeff asked for an adjournment or not, I don't have sufficient information.
Yeah, the board just moved to adjourn it. There's no point in
Motion
arguing.
to adjourn for all purposes?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to adjourn this application for all purposes, please?
So moved.
Second, aye.
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 Next, public hearings historic. Carol Welsh, letter to withdraw application, is that in the file?
He's getting.
Oh, so sorry.
That's all right. Let's just confirm that. If that is the case, then the board does not need to take any action because the applicant has adjourned.
Okay,
Has
has
withdrawn.
withdrawn.
That there, Jeff? Excuse me, Rob?
I'm sorry?
Is there a
Is there
letter
a
to
letter
withdraw?
to-
There is a
withdraw?
letter requesting to withdraw the application
so-
without prejudice.
All right.
We acknowledge the letter to withdraw the application of Carol Welsh, 340 Hill Street.
Correct.
How's that?
Perfect.
We don't have to vote on it.
No, we're just acknowledging it. Next, there's a letter to request an adjournment for Thomas and Meredith Joyce, 765 Hill Street. Is that in the file?
It is.
Is there a reason?
Let me just read. As discussed at your last meeting, in an attempt to propose an alternative to demolition of the existing structure at 765 Hill Street, the applicant has developed a conceptual plan submitted herewith that will retain the front two-story portion of the existing structure, relocate within the property, and convert the existing structure from the pre-existing non-conforming use to a guest house. An application has been filed with the Board of Appeals, and a public hearing will be held on June 27, 2019. As such, we request that the matter pending before this board be adjourned until the meeting of July 8, 2019.
Reasonable request.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn till July 8th.
Second.
Aye.
Post-
All right. Aye.
Aye.
Next, Louise Coral, letter requesting an adjournment to our next meeting, 6/24/2019. How's that? Good?
Yes,
Motion to
June 24th.
Motion to approve applicant's request at 68 North Main Street.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Next, Beechwood Latch LLC, 101 Hill Street.
Oh, yeah.
This, I believe, we're pretty much liking the buildings, but I asked to see the,
Materials.
yes.
Material,
And
yes.
I know they brought them because I bumped into them when they were bringing them.
You want these all on the table?
Yes, please, so
please.
that he can pick it up. What is that? Trim?
That's trim. Yes.
This is a garage door.
This
That's
is the garage
handsome.
door, and this has a clear coat finish on it.
That's all right.
So
It's-
it will
it's wood.
fade.
It will silver, but
It's pure
slightly.
wood.
Yeah.
It's not a plastic garage door.
Yes. So also you'll see on the sheets that you're getting,
Yes.
we have samples of the brick also.
Is it a true
Dutch
brick and not a
something?
brick veneer?
Yes.
Yes, we asked that before, and they said
Yes,
so.
absolutely.
Thank you.
The,
Checking to see if the answer was the same.
Oh, okay.
this is the roof shingle. Okay? It's a red cedar ACQ dipped shingle, so it extends the life of the shingle, but it does fade to the
Gray.
kind of normal roof that you see in there.
Okay, I'm just glad it's made out of wood.
And then the front door is going to be painted this color, which we
Can you
also
put
have
that, can you
samples
see
for
that? Yeah,
the file.
great.
One in the wall. And then the last thing we have is the sidewall shingles, which are red cedar stained,
Front door?
and coincidentally, the color of the shingle is beechwood gray, which you can see here.
Can you guys see that? Or do you want me to lift it?
Can you turn,
Lift it up there.
Could-
Is it
yeah,
really
would you
heavy?
mind? Yeah.
yeah, I think we should be able to have it on the tape, because this is a big one. I think the table is not made out of wood, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, good, lay it flat, because the light was glaring in a way that
All right,
this catches it better. Thank you.
is that all of it?
Good shot, Joe.
That's everything.
Anyone have anything to say? I think it's all fine myself.
No, I'm fine with it. It's beautiful.
Handsome.
So this would be to approve 7 multifamily buildings,
Refer to council for written decision.
oh yeah, to close the application of Beechwood Latch LLC 101 Hill Street, a written decision.
And I think we had moved past, but this, part of this application is also the actual main building, but we went through that in detail last time as well, right?
Yeah, I think we've really covered the waterfront pretty
I do
much.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
I
wanted
mean,
to be sure.
I'm perfectly willing to, but
No,
I
no
thought that they
questions.
did a good presentation, that we talked about it, they came back, they made the changes with the roof line made it less massive, although I'm sure it'll be a lot of buildings on not so much land. What about the exterior lighting? Did we discuss that in any way? Do you do that? Who does that?
Do I do the exterior lighting? No, I do not.
Who does
but
it?
I can ask.
This landscape lighting, you mean?
Whatever lighting, so it's not
Okay.
lit up like a Christmas tree, that
I
would be.
can't recall, do we have a landscape plan that we approved? at
We
one
did
point?
see a landscaping
Yes.
plan,
Yeah.
but I don't
I
think
don't
it
believe
had,
it had lighting on it.
it didn't. So what,
Did the Board of Appeals have any
What
reference in
lighting is there?
their decision to
On the
light
doors?
those?
It was
That I don't recall.
modest.
so how do we handle this?
Do you have
No,
a right to a
we-
landscape?
Yeah,
plan
landscape
with lighting?
plan to be amended to include lighting. I think that's perfectly reasonable, because this is a big piece of property, and I'm sure you want security as well as you
Right.
want to direct people, and
Yes.
there are obviously
So
guidelines
who does
for
that?
night
Your
lighting.
landscaping people, or their landscaping
We'll
people?
get someone to.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm sorry, I just,
That's okay.
yeah.
Good call, great call. And the
Really?
lighting on the
I spent-
houses themselves is basically soffit lighting under the porches?
Well,
first
that's
floor
correct.
porches? There's no sconces?
well, see, they're gonna have to tell us all of
They
that.
don't
No, but I'm
show
saying on the
any
architecture.
We'll address it all in
And we're
one
gonna, okay, and we're gonna need like to see
If there
actually a
is-
tear
there is
sheet on the,
something, if
whatever
not,
it is. They must know or have some idea. All
Would you
right.
like us to bring this back, or could?
No, we like, this is all good and we'll remember
We'll
it.
just
How's
address
that?
the lighting when we come
So
back.
let's just adjourn till the next meeting if that's possible.
Yep.
And get the lighting squared away, and then we'll be finished, I believe.
Great.
Right. And that,
And
and obviously
and
that
you
would
guys have
be,
done a great job with us so far.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you've
that
been
that would
very
be
responsive,
all
thank you.
lighting,
All the lighting, the
ground
cut sheets.
lighting,
They must have an
Landscape
idea of this.
Landscape
This is a giant
Wattage,
place.
lumens really.
village lighting.
You know what? Most people know it in watts, so if you could give an incandescent watt equivalent to whatever you do, ask your lighting engineer or whoever does it to do that, because
Answer questions on the lighting and the landscape.
Yeah, we don't have a
lighting plan, so we will produce
so
a
they're
lighting
just
plan.
requesting a lighting plan for the site.
But they're okay with this right now?
Yeah.
Okay, and landscaping?
The landscaping.
We had a
produced
landscaping,
plan for that
we
already,
saw that,
so-
but it didn't include lighting.
Actually,
So that's the only
Because
thing we need.
this is a big project,
Lighting on the buildings.
Yeah.
all the light, any outdoor lighting that would be on, like, beside the front door, whatever you got.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay, thank you.
The landscaping plan, we saw a landscaping plan for 109. Did we see one for
I
101?
thought we saw it for the whole
I think it
thing.
was a
It
whole.
was for the whole.
Was it for the whole
Yeah.
property?
Yeah, I remember it
Okay.
had,
Okay, all right.
Yes.
okay, so are you asking us to adjourn to our next meeting so you can bring the the lighting plan, please?
Please.
Okay, motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
Aye.
Great, sorry,
Thank you.
Thank you.
didn't think of it until now.
Good call.
No. Do you have something in there that's stamped?
I
One.
need that one that's stamped.
Oh, okay. Next, Lifton Green LLC, 270 Oxmaster Road. Relocate existing residence, demo existing detached garage, construct new two-story residence with pool cabana. Oh. Your names, please?
Bruce Lifton for the applicant.
Haley Larkin with Bennett and Reed, offices at 212 Windmill Lane in Southampton.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, before we get too deeply into the second house, there's been some questions about the house that's on the property now.
Okay.
Do you have, it seems that it was a house, not an accessory house. And Mr. Studenroth might have something to say about
All right,
this.
so why don't we sit down so he can speak?
Okay, fine. Do you have any information on this? Because you've launched into having,
On the existing house? No.
you did no research on
No,
it?
it said, no, I did. I went upstairs and the blue sheet said it was a carriage house.
Oh, okay, here we go. So Zach, okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think there's some, it seems, some misinformation on the inventory sheet that you're referring to. This is the inventory that was done in 1979, and essentially it established the fact that this building is later regarded as a contributing resource within the historic district, which is created in 1986. So that's just the sequence of things. Where the inventory sheet, I believe, erroneously characterizes this existing house as a carriage house, is that it's smaller, the scale of it is smaller than that which becomes typical for that part of the village, which we call the estate section. So larger homes are built typically in the 20s, 30s, 40s. And it so happens that a quick survey of these are the maps that are in the building department. There's an 1894 Beers map of Southampton in two parts framed opposite the counter, and it's vacant land.
1894.
1894. The parcel itself in question is already subdivided as a parcel. It's vacant. And the owner is
Burnett.
F. Jagger.
Oh.
And then there's a surrounding section which makes a much larger square surrounding it, which is still the case, which is also vacant. So that's 1894. The style of the house suggests sort of late 1890s or so. So I'm judging it probably gets built by 1900. But the surrounding property remains undeveloped. It's not until 1926 that a map shows a so-called estate house, a large house. There's trellises, there's all sorts of estate features and outbuildings, which gets built on that surrounding piece of property. The pre-existing house is still standing there. Okay.
Sorry, when did the pre-existing, this house, the subject house, when did that first show up on a map? It wasn't
That
there in
first shows up,
1894?
right. That first shows up on an E. Belcher Hyde map of 1916. It's owned by a Dr. J.H. Barkhard. and it's named Sunnyside, and it is so named on the map.
And that is Lifton Green. Okay, thank you.
That's Hyde's Atlas of Suffolk County. Someone named J. Mausch Bitschenauer. It was a German invasion of ox pasture. Renames the house Le Pré, French name, according to the 1932 Sanborn. Okay. So the record of ownership of the house in question is established over a course of these maps. The adjoining property gets a very large estate house, so-called built by a Mrs. G.B. Hoppin. But by 1932, that house is gone, that large adjoining house. And I believe that the inventory sheet erroneously identified this smaller house adjacent as the so-called carriage house to this later large house, which got built and got lost, all within a period of 5 or 6 years. Because the inventory sheet says that it may have burned down during the Depression, that is to say, this larger house. So I think there's a conflated record here of which house was which. I think that's only really relevant to this discussion because if this had indeed been an accessory building on a larger estate with multiple accessory structures and a very large house now gone, the view of how to preserve this might be slightly different than to simply say, this is a large Victorian house which was built and standing by a certain date, its record of ownership is clear, and it's still there.
And the current location of the house is the original location per the
It was
maps.
set back, right. So in other words, I think this was simply a misunderstanding of what this house was on this inventory sheet, and it only goes to 2 pages. These are a synopsis, a quick synopsis. Hundreds of buildings are being, inventoried. And so if we look at the context in which this inventory was done, they misread what this house was, and this creates confusion for later, for people coming along 30 or 40 years later, because it establishes a kind of an approach to this building, which in fact is based upon an erroneous set of facts as they are established by the maps. I think a little more research could probably be done to substantiate this record of ownership and what happened to that adjacent house. Was there any connection there? We simply don't know. The maps don't lay out this as being a kind of a smallish estate type feature that you would drive past as you came in to approach a bigger house. None of the maps don't suggest that. But I'm just saying for now, I think the premise on which this house is proposed for being saved but moved elsewhere on that property so that a larger house can be built, it's kind of based on a foundation which is proven incorrect. And I think this should really be explored a little bit further before you think about what could be done with the property. So that's my assessment of there.
So what do you think about adjourning till our next meeting so we can get you and everyone needs more information? I would suggest that you try to. Okay, so.
I'm sorry. What about the issue that was raised, and maybe Bailey, you can shed some light on this, of having 2 houses?
We don't need 2 houses. This is the house.
This is that's what I'm saying, but what they're proposing.
So if this is the house, this is the house.
Okay.
Okay, let's not go there yet,
Right,
because
okay.
this is the question. Before we move forward, we need to find out if this
What
is an
we're working
extant
with.
house, it's been a house, it's a historic house and contributing, that's all. And I feel that unfortunately, we didn't know that, and we're going to need to find out. So are you asking us to adjourn till our next? Yes. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn to our next meeting for Lifton Green LLC, 270 Ox Pasture Road.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye, I guess. Aye.
Thank you, board.
Okay,
Thank you.
This is me picking them up, taking them away. I was just waiting for the finish.
okay. Next. Whew. Coop Cooper's Neck Lane LLC, 65 Cooper's Neck Lane, demolish existing one-story cottage and construct 2 sets of driveway gates.
Actually, it could be one driveway gate. One set, right?
Two
This
piers.
says 2
one
sets.
set.
Right.
So it's 1 set?
One. Driveway gate, one. Yes.
So it's 2 separate piers, but it's 1 set.
One, oh, yeah.
I'm just reading how it
I
was
know, I'm just
advertised. I'm not in the
interpreting.
naming department.
So it's 1 set.
And I reprinted the cottage photos as well. Do you guys need them as well?
I'll be right with you. Do you have affidavits?
I was told they submitted them last time.
They were submitted. This is a revisit.
Yeah, okay.
There was something with the gate. You had to come back with some
Visibility,
see-through on that.
Visibility.
Okay.
Yep.
I see that you,
We revised it.
so now it's
It's more.
4
open.
inches with 3/4-inch slats
Correct.
made out of,
Wood.
and the surround is wood also,
Correct.
is white.
The gate itself, we're proposing this color. And the brick is just powder, or, yes, white.
That's the white brick, but it's the front, it's a painted brick, is that right?
Yes.
So it has
White
white and
wash.
black, and white and dark gray. Did we know that before?
I had these last time as well.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Board, how tall are they?
What is the
They're
dark gray
short.
material? Is that
Only
wood?
4
This is
foot.
the wood
Its
for
gate
the
is 4
gate
foot.
itself.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
4'8", it's not very tall.
The piers are 5'9.5".
No, they're pretty
I don't have any objections.
No problem with that. Okay, neither do I. Is there anyone from the audience of the 4 people who are left who would like to discuss this? No. Motion to approve application for...
No, this will be a decision.
Oh, right. Motion to close the application of Cooper's Neck Lane LLC, 65 Cooper's Neck Lane for driveway gates for written decision.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And you know you don't really have to come back to the written decision, you can just pick it up at the thing, okay.
I do enjoy coming back.
Oh, sure you do.
Next, 72 Gin Lane LLC, letter requesting adjournment, is that in the file?
Yes.
Yes. We respectfully request an adjournment of this matter to the June 24th, 2019 public hearing. Project architect Mr. Haynes is not able to attend this meeting. And they did submit the original affidavit posting for the same. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the applicant's request to adjourn this matter to our June 24th meeting.
Second.
Aye.
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 Great. Next.
Aquan?
Gentlemen, step forward. Aquin, Deutsche Bank, 155 Hampton Road, demolish garage.
Yes, good evening. I here represent the company. We do the proper
Actually,
preservation.
you have to give.
You have to say your name. Do you have
My name
the
is Joe
posting
Molino.
mailing?
I do have everything.
Okay, you need to submit that, because otherwise we can't talk to you.
They told me that actually that was something, I did the mailers and everything already, and they told me I'd be signing that here.
Signing.
Signing what?
Signing the affidavit for the mailers.
Okay, but you need to turn it
That
into
needs to be
us. Sign it.
notarized.
Oh,
Needs
is
to
it
be
notarized?
They
You
told
have
me,
the affidavit of posting?
they told me that when I came here today that I'd be signing it here,
Who is they?
when I called upstairs in the office.
You have the 2 documents with you?
Well, let's see, I have all the pictures of all the mailers, I have pictures of the property.
No, there's a
Trust me, I
form.
called like every day trying to make sure that everything was gonna be,
I'm sure you did, and you sat through the whole meeting, I hear you, but we're not, we don't run the building department, we just work for it. So it's a piece of 1 sheet of paper, it says,
is it right here?
she found it.
But it's not filled out.
It's not filled out?
Who did the mailing?
I did the mailing myself.
You did?
Yes.
You actually put the letters in?
Yep, and I actually took pictures of everything with all those stamps and everything when we sent it out.
Okay.
So you did the mailing, you yourself did the mailing and
Yes.
you did the posting?
Yes. We also
Does it
put
have to be
posting-
notarized?
Yes, it does, but I think under the circumstance, if he's established that sufficiently, that
He could.
Yeah, that's what I
take
actually took the
notice of
pictures
that, and
and
you
Okay,
can
so we
do it in
might
the
be able to
morning.
Okay.
deal with this
Thank
if you would get it notarized and bring it to the
Absolutely.
building department tomorrow. Is that
Are you
okay?
going to be in town tomorrow, or?
Well, this is
I'll
historic
have to
district,
figure it out.
so he could mail it in. I mean, we're not going to
We
sign this
just need it,
tomorrow.
otherwise we're acting
Right.
without jurisdiction.
Yeah, understand.
Okay, proceed.
All right, so it's proposed to do a demolition on a garage that's basically being held up by a tree right now. And it is a historical society, so that's why I'm here at the meeting. We've submitted, I have pictures and everything that should be in the file here. And we were trying to get approval for the demolition of the garage.
Can
So,
you just show
yeah,
the
show
pictures,
this stuff on the
Jim?
table. Zach, so you
Yes.
swung by there to see if it was old?
Yeah, I walked around. It's a small building, as you know. It was not open, so I hadn't requested.
picture of
Yeah,
it
for safety,
open.
it's
But
actually
that-
been.
Sure, that's okay. This is very helpful if I can just borrow one of these pictures,
Yeah.
because I'll be able to see inside. Yeah,
And
so
you could tell the
it's
back
not-
wall that you saw if you walked around it.
not-
I saw the rafter tails, which are exposed on the rear, which is the west facade. You know, the exterior envelope of the building has been entirely replaced. So the siding of all four sides, the doors at the front, the shingle of the roof, that sort of off-centered louvered ventilator gizmo on the top, that's all new. It's all been replaced.
Yeah.
But we don't worry about that. Lots of houses get reshingled, so it's not about the siding. But the asymmetrical shape of it, profile, if you will, and this interior framing, which does expose across the back where these 2x10 rafters are sailing down and shooting out, were indicative of the interior structure. I would have dated this perhaps of the 1930s or 40s. So it's
Okay.
a much later
Okay,
So that was
improvement of the property.
after the house.
Much later.
Much later.
The house itself probably dates from the
Pre-Civil War,
1870s.
so yeah, I did get something about that.
okay.
Yes.
I'm taking the word.
So,
Not to step
so
on-
there's nothing historically compelling about.
Not to step on your toes, but because I know the History Museum often has an interest in older sheds that they might be able to repurpose and put onto the grounds of the History Museum, I suggested that, and Tom Edmonds, the director, is particularly interested in sheds like this. So I suggested he go take a look, having seen this on the agenda. And he came back and said, it's
Not old.
not old enough, and it's not in great condition, and so he doesn't have your expertise, but it's sort of a,
Been around a few sheds.
he's been around a few old
So is
sheds.
there no
As I'm sure
disagreement?
you know.
So motion to approve,
Motion to close.
to close for written decision. Aquen Deutsche Bank, demolition of the garage at 155 Hampton Road.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 And so do get those filled out, notarized?
Yes,
and-
is this the right one right here?
Yeah, there should be one that says
then
mail,
the
posting, and the other
addresses?
one says mailing, right?
Okay, so just have these signed, notarized, and I can just send them right over to
Correct,
Diane
and it would
upstairs?
help to, if you can make copies of the photographs, it can't hurt to add in the photographs of the letters that you have there.
Just send all that
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah, that's why I did that, actually, so I
That was
had
smart.
everything.
There you go.
I tried to have,
All
I
right.
didn't want to have to do this again.
Sorry I had to sit to the end.
I know. we
It
should have
actually,
taken it
considering it's hardly the end like it's been.
Good job.
What time is it?
Wait, I have one
A
more
lot of
thing.
adjournments.
Before we
Oh.
close the
Oh,
meeting,
wait,
I wanted to discuss,
we also have this.
What is that?
This is, this was from last time. Has this been, this was the
there's
Halsey
nothing we
Street?
can do.
No.
This is the House
No,
on
it's-
Halsey, demolition
yes.
permit request
Kate
on Halsey
Kernan's
Street.
first,
It's almost set.
it was like, could we save it, but we'd have to landmark it. We discussed it and we didn't.
They put it back in the
But-
basket
Have
again.
a good night, everybody.
I don't
thank
know.
you.
I have, a-
One thought on that is, I may take a look at the house. There's interest among some people in the village to preserve houses, to relocate them. I don't know if this particular house, I don't know if you've been in there. I,
One on Halsey?
81
Yeah.
Halsey, yeah.
it's like a
In
Victorian.
it.
I heard from one of the Jeff Hull, he said that the inside is not in such great shape, but, you know, maybe
Looks
that
great
house
from
can
the
be
outside.
saved and moved somewhere else, but I don't know, legally, we have no,
You
nothing
have no
to.
status
Yeah.
to do that, and I don't know who is saying that, but it's very difficult
The
to move
building
houses off
inspector
locations
asked me.
because of telephone wires
Right.
now
Yeah,
and all that.
no, I know, although I'm only a half a block away.
So wait, I have one more thing, which is, I was of course watching Channel 22, which was a mistake, and I saw that these two situations, two applications, one was on Pond Lane, that huge landscaping project. We had to approve it. I don't know, because Pond Lane's historic.
This is a subdivision of
Right.
the
And so it turned out that, of course, this
Lyman
is
property?
on the theme of the,
I don't know why, actually, yeah, I
it
don't.
did come to us. I remember being
Yeah.
confused, but we did it.
Yeah.
So returning to the theme of the evening, the people who were in charge of doing this removed trees that they weren't supposed to remove, and I don't know what they did, but, so in the meeting, they asked Chick from Nelson Pope and Voorhees, what, well, do you think this is okay? And he said, yeah, I think it's better than it was before. Now, this is that was Elihu Root's house, Mrs. Cheryl's, right on the turn. It starts right beyond there. And he didn't, no one asked what was changed, why, asked Chick. And so then I thought, like, I signed those plans, we agreed on this, and now it's changed, but our approval is still on it, and I don't feel comfortable with that.
Was there a second document?
I didn't go in the file, this was just television watching. So, but in the same way, then the Coonahan, that house where there was an addition and then they poured the swimming pool or the foundation, they approved, and I rewatched those tapes, and their architect comes in each time and says that the house fits into the building envelope, and they're just putting, and the second time, and they're putting on an addition, and the second time, and the second tape says they're putting on an addition, and it turns out, no, they knocked down the house, and they're not putting on an addition, they're building a whole new house. And I feel like, well, hey, I might have not approved, so.
Where is this house? Which one is this?
Hillcrest, Coonahan.
Behind the
Yes,
museum?
and so I felt like, yes, I signed those plans and we approved those plans with the understanding that there was an addition on the house, and I might have thought differently about the architecture of the house if it were starting from scratch. So then, what is our recourse, or what do we do?
Well, you're not an enforcement board. I don't know what the sequence of events was, but if you've approved plans, like so many things you've seen tonight, and
Yeah, I know,
somebody changes or alters those plans subsequently, unless it comes back to your board in some other form of jurisdiction, you can note what's happened if you like, but I mean, you've got no enforcement provision. That's the building department. You can advise the building department you believe that the plans were altered, or in the terms of that at Coonahan, that the house was demolished, but beyond that, your duty, your job has been done once you've approved the plans.
Yes, but we approved plans that were based on false premises.
Well, if it's in the historic district, then they're responsible, and I'm
There are other
reading this
issues, yeah,
loosely,
right.
to replace it in kind.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like, what are we doing if
That's
you
on Hill Street with that house
Right.
that fell down.
Right, and I'm not sure
I know.
what the rules are for.
Well, there's another layer of, in the historic code, the owner is under an obligation to maintain the property, but it's not really the same issue. But Susan's like any of the number of applications you've had here tonight where these
It's an
matters
exhausting
are
array.
amended, they alter the plans you've approved, and then they come back seeking,
They didn't even come,
ex post
we
facto
wouldn't have
permission.
known it, except I was watching Channel 22. That's my feeling. How many more are there?
Yeah.
And Jeff did the revised plans that they then built to. He presents himself as a sort of a bystander.
They all do. Every one of them
He
will say, I
actually
really wasn't
did the new
involved.
drawings.
But someone made the decision.
Well, let's-
It was the immaculate deception, that's what I call it.
So do I have a motion to close? So anyway, I don't, what do people think we should do? I mean, are we just sitting here approving things and then they go somewhere else and the people didn't tell the truth, and then that's it? Yeah.
Well, those boards, if they are in front of another board, it's up to that board, the Board of Appeals, presumably, to inquire as to why things have happened, and maybe then refer it back to your board. But you can't stand in for them if you do
I
notice
don't
some.
want to. I just
Yeah.
don't want to have my approval on plans that,
Do we want
But
to,
your approval had been put on plans in that context of time to build that project out. If somebody doesn't obey those plans later on, like you've seen tonight, unless it comes back to you by reference to the building department or something else, you've approved the plans. It's not your responsibility that, or fault that plans weren't followed through.
Right, and I think what Bo is saying, and not hidden in that, but suggested, at least I infer from it, is that we do our job. If it's not built according to that, then they have violated that.
Yeah, they have breached your.
And then it's a matter really of the village, and in this case, the building department representing the village to take action. Now, what we might do as a board is impress upon the trustees the issues we're having and ask them to look at imposing fines that really mean.
Consequences
I'm sorry?
into, we should build consequences.
Right, because the consequences in that, the consequences.
Yeah, well, there are consequences that the building department can respond to, but it's up to them to commence some kind of proceeding in the justice court if that's what their intent or that purpose or what their decision is. It's not up to this board to engage in an enforcement proceeding.
To Jeff's point, though, maybe either informally or in a more formal letter form, we could, for instance, with respect to, was it zoning board? That we could perhaps request or remind them that when something is going to impact the aesthetics, even of landscaping, particularly in the historic district, that they ought to come back to us or have the applicant come back to us to amend the approval.
Or make their decision subject to approval of this board.
Of the ARB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
And then I
who's
think
going to do
there's
that?
a larger issue too, when you said there should be consequences. There are in some cases consequences, but they're inconsequential.
Yep.
So for somebody to pay a $5,000 fine or $15,000 fine against a $10 million property is meaningless. It's a cost.
Someone who attended the Southampton Press Candidates Forum last Friday suggested that violations of this nature should be dealt with a 2-year moratorium on any activity on the site, and got a lot of applause for saying that. I'm not sure I agree with the specifics, but I agree with the sentiment.
That may not be constitutional.
It may not be, but separately, is there, I understand that there was I don't know if it's a formal request yet, but enough that it was communicated to me about a request for a possible demolition of a house on Halsey Neck. Is anyone aware of that?
I can't talk about it, because I'm friends with those people, so I would have to get up and leave.
Oh.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
I believe I can say there's truth to what you're saying.
Why don't we just, why don't you just close the meeting?
Close the meeting.
Motion to close the meeting of June 10th, 2019 of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation.
moved.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, second, sorry, I'll second.
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Charlie.
Okay.